So I want to talk a little bit about the market and why I think Ethereum's price has been kind of in a bit of a bullish market. First, let's just look at the total market recap. Total market recap's $268 billion, a total of 1,700 different cryptocurrencies in the market. This is important. People new to the cryptocurrency market, they hear of Bitcoin, they may hear of Ethereum, but they have no idea. There's a total of 1,700 different currencies out there. Most are total crap. Most are a plan with a website and a claim to want to innovate and do something cool, and there's absolutely nothing behind the project. There's no programming, there's no development, there's nothing behind most of these currencies. Most are garbage, but there's still a lot of price speculation. People buy them and they sell them, and there's a lot of price movement. BTC dominance. This is important. Bitcoin is 48% of the entire market. So of all of these cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin is 48% of all of them combined as far as the amount of money that people are holding in Bitcoin, the total market capitalization, or the total amount of Bitcoin being held. So come down here, you take a look at Bitcoin current price, 7,500. It's went up about 0.01% today. Total market cap's $129 billion. It's $129 billion. So if you're new to cryptocurrencies and you're like, what in the world? That's serious. And just underneath that is Ethereum, $42 billion market cap. Ethereum currently is at $419 per Ethereum. However, this number has been much higher in the past. I mean, it's been closer to like $1,500, $1,200 in the past. However, more recently, Ethereum's been kind of going backwards. It's been dropping. And I've read and heard other people, have even had friends ask me, what's going on? What's going on with this Ethereum? What's going on with this Ethereum? And that's it. It obviously started back here is when it really started sliding. And I think I'm just going to speculate here because I don't actually obviously know, but just looking at the news, there's a few reasons that may be causing this. First of all, Bitcoin is going down. That's the orange line. Anytime Bitcoin goes down, it can tend to pull other cryptocurrencies with it. And it can be an indication that the total cryptocurrency market as a whole is going down. People are moving out of cryptocurrency for whatever reason. And that can cause the entire market to go down. So I think that there is a bit of a our current total market cap is only $126 billion. I'm sorry, 268, that was Bitcoin, $268 billion. I mean, there was a time when this was like 500 billion, 600 billion. So there's been a lot of money that's come out of the crypto space as a whole. And I think that's part of the reason why it's in a slump. I think the other part is people are learning how early. Now, this is a positive for those of us that can be patient, because it just goes to show you how early we are in this space. This is, I heard a buddy say we're the pioneers of the pioneers, and that's exactly right. I mean, we are the pioneers of the pioneers. And maybe the pioneers of the pioneers of the pioneers. And this article basically sums it up. And I think this is probably what's leading to some of this downturn. And that is that people are seeing that Ethereum's got a little further to go. Now, it's important to understand that this article talks about Casper and sharding, and I'll go through this article in a minute, but just so you understand, if you don't know what that means, there's a problem with Ethereum and there's a problem with Bitcoin. And that is both of them. The number one issue they have going mainstream mass adoption is that they could never handle the volume of transactions taking place on either one of their networks. So it's great when it's small and it's starting out, but if you're trying to go to, you want to go to a place where you can handle transactions like, say, Visa or MasterCard, I mean, they're only able to handle a fraction of those without it clogging up and, the entire network. If you follow my channel, you know that one of the projects I invest in is FOMO 3D or Proof of Weekends 3D, which has a game called FOMO 3D. And the launch of one of those games alone practically crashed or stalled the network. I mean, it was, gas prices spiked up to 10,000. If you don't know what that means, it just means they were having a very hard time getting transactions through. So Casper and sharding are basically two technologies that are designed ultimately shifts in the Ethereum blockchain to be able to help it allow it to scale better. And they've been talking about this for a while, but now they basically have pushed it back. And I could go through the article, but I'll link the article below this video so you can just read it yourself. There's no need for me to read the article. But again, I don't see this as a negative. I see this personally. This isn't financial advice. This is me personally. I've recently started diversifying some of my crypto assets into Ethereum, and I just see this as a greater chance to be able to buy Ethereum. In fact, if you are diversifying, one of the great things to look at is diversify when this market has a wide spread on it. When because one of the things that shows you is actually that's not what I was trying to show you. That's not accurate, sorry. When these two markets have a wide spread, and basically there's a website out there called the Flippening Watch, and basically what that does is it tells you how close it is to Ethereum taking over Bitcoin in market capitalization. Well, let me just tell you, it's a long ways away. But there's times that, I mean, it's been as close as 80% and maybe closer of the same market capitalization as Bitcoin. So I like to see, because typically a lot of people are diversifying away from Bitcoin. I like to do it when my Bitcoin can buy more Ethereum. And historically, this is a pretty good time for that, just so you know. And I think the future, Ethereum and Bitcoin will have two very different futures. But Ethereum is fascinating technology. And I want to address this. People are like, oh yeah, but there's other, EOS and there's other chains out there that are better than Ethereum. I'm not telling you that I think in another 10, 20, 30 years, Ethereum's going to be a household name. Ethereum might be the IBM that one day Apple surpasses, possibly. However, a lot of other blockchains out there have some great concepts, but they're so far behind what Ethereum has actually already accomplished in practice. So it's one thing to read an article that talks about IOTA or EOS, and it's like, oh, this is better for this reason or it's better for that reason. Neo, my argument is this. That's fine. Let's see them run through their paces and catch up to Ethereum first. They're so far technologically behind Ethereum right now. Ethereum's already done what some of these other cryptocurrencies claim they can do, but they're just, if Ethereum's the pioneer of the pioneer, these guys are like, the pioneers of the pioneers. The concept of what a pioneer might be is really what they are. Currently, I'm not saying they're not going to surpass Ethereum in the future. I'm just saying I'm not worried about that happening this year or next year, and probably not for several years to come. That's just my personal belief, and that's my opinion. Don't take that as financial advice. But thank you so much for watching this video on why I believe that Ethereum is in a bit of a bear market, and the bear market for Ethereum has been a bit stronger than Bitcoin, and I think the biggest difference in that is the delay of the Casper, not being able to hit the deadlines, trying to push the deadlines back, that sort of thing. That's what I believe is going on here. It makes for a fascinating read. I'll put the article below. Please feel free to read it. Educate yourself on this space. It's a fascinating space that we're a part of. We literally are on the cusp of future technology. Thank you so much for watching this video.